Hi everyone, how are you doing? Welcome back to Bring It to the Table. My name is Joaquin Loper, and this is my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wife, Stacey Loper.
Hey y'all.
And we are blended and winning.
And so are you.
Hey.
Hey.
I hate you. Hey.
So got to do the introduction tonight.
Yeah, so Bring It to the Table is our new podcast, man, which my wife is the host. She allows me to tag in sometime and be interviewed so you can get a little bit more in-depth look at our family, our marriage. So I'm honored every time I have the opportunity to sit down with her.
That's what it's about. It's about tagging him in.
Yes.
United. Being a united front. Being able to do this thing called marriage, called life, called parenting together.
Together. That's the key word. Together.
Get her. Did y'all ever break that word down? To get her together. Just saying.
So silly.
I know.
So what are we talking about tonight?
Hey, so what I would like to bring to the table tonight.
Yes, what are we bringing to the table?
I think that everyone, whatever billions of people that are here on earth, may be opposed from those like babies, like being real, with you, triggers.
The bang, they trigger. They're quick too. Are you cocking it?
Yeah, that's my trigger. Hey, no, that's not the trigger. Disregard all that. Disregard all that I just did. Because that was not the trigger. What was I just doing?
Yeah, you
I was cocky.
That one cocky.
That one cocky. Okay, disclaimer, I know nothing about guns.
As you can well see.
As you can see, I know nothing about guns.
Just trigger, baby. Just trigger. It's trigger.
They just...
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Hey, for you all, just know, I know what the trigger is.
Yeah. But we ain't talking about those kind of triggers, okay? I know y'all wonder, can we ever be serious? Don't replay that part, okay? Skip past that. Go on to the most important stuff.
We're playing that one.
Okay?
All right, so triggers, okay.
Triggers.
And triggers come in so many different forms. And people understand this. Individuals can have multiple triggers. Triggers. From verbal to nonverbal. To
Actions.
Yeah, to actions.
Gestures.
Yeah, to non-actions.
Yep, body language.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump into this. I don't know where you're going with this.
Okay, so kind of where I'm going with it, and you can help me kind of balance it out as we talk about triggers. We all have them, and these triggers were formed and were initiated into our life early in age.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so when we talk about triggers, like for example, a statement that I use, just making reference to something because I know it's a trigger for my husband, is I'm gonna give him his pants back, or I wear pants, or something like that. Like this, you see his entire body change. Okay, like you see his entire body change. I know I ain't never wore the pants in this marriage. I know that. But I always use it as a reference, like, honey, I gave him his pants back. And he was like, you never had them. Yeah. All right, calm down, Tiger. I got it. I never had them in this marriage, okay? But I know that's a trigger for my husband, so it doesn't offend me when he rises up and becomes defensive and says that to me. And even in the manner in which he says it to me, I don't become defensive because we've had the conversation about what triggers him. And it was important for me to learn what that trigger was so that I will know how to react and respond to it. Yeah. So when I use it as a reference point, usually I'm using it as a funny or a joking reference point. Yes. Okay? And so we have to know what that looks like. And here's why I'm bringing it to the table is because too many people don't want to have the conversations about what their triggers are.
Oh, yes, they don't. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They don't want to have the conversations, and sometimes they don't even want to admit to triggers, period.
And that's where I was about to go with it.
And that's more dangerous than not having the conversation.
Than not having the conversation at all is when you do not acknowledge the trigger is there.
Yep.
Because when that trigger is there and you don't acknowledge it, you become one, passive aggressive. That's one thing you can become. You can become very angry, and you can act out on that angry in a very bad way.
Yeah, denial, that, oof.
Yes.
And this is the thing. People that are close to you and know you, they see the triggers. That's why people can make reference like, hey, if you get around her, don't say this. Don't do this. Those are triggers. Those are triggers.
Yeah.
I know I have. And this is the thing. We have triggers because of life's trauma. Period. No one can get around that.
Period.
Whether your trauma is small or little. They're triggers.
They're triggers. And here's the thing. You can heal from those triggers. Though, because of life, those triggers will still exist. When you heal from them, you know how to handle them when you are presented with that thing that triggers you. Okay?
You know how to adapt to them, deal with them, and accept them.
And know that it's not a jab at you. Or it's not shots fired.
Especially coming from your loved ones. We're talking about from a spouse point of view.
Or significant other point of view when you're building a relationship. Even from a friendship point of view though, baby.
Yes. And it's so good because we always tell people, significant other or spouse, you have to teach people how to love you. That is so big. People try to put this perfect image on, and then when something happens, we're like, where'd that come from? No. I need to see that side of me before you see all the good stuff. I need for you to know that, hey, when you say something like this to me, they don't sit well with me, and here is why. Most people, what we found out is people don't want to explain or tell people the why behind their triggers if they understand their triggers because they're too embarrassed about them. Or I have it under control. When really, it's not about you having it under control or your embarrassment. It's more so about so I won't step on that landmine to cause conflict or damage in our relationship.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So I need to know your triggers.
Like Joaquin knows what my triggers are. And my triggers are directly attached to my childhood. Like directly attached to that. Do I have some relationship triggers? I'm sure I do.
I'm sure she does too.
I don't know if they really present themselves as much as my childhood triggers, as my childhood trauma presents itself.
No, they do not. Nor did they ever. However, did they affect us? Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
They did affect us.
The triggers for my wife that would make her respond in the moment were triggers from her childhood.
Yes.
They were.
It was truly traumatic experience from my childhood. And here's the thing. Some of that I will never have to experience again a day in my life. And I know that because I know that as a parent, he's not going to subject our kids to that type of physical abuse, and neither am I.
Yeah.
Okay? However, sometimes the tone, remember it's what I hear, okay, can trigger something in me toward him when it comes to our kids. Doesn't necessarily, his tone doesn't necessarily trigger for me when he's talking to me, but when he's talking to our kids, I'm automatically triggered.
And this is the thing, parents, it's okay for you to have that kind of disposition from your trigger. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because my wife can still have those dispositions and those moments of uncomfortableness, but she trusts me and she knows my intentions. So in those moments, guess what she does? She'll exit the room, she'll go to another room, and allow me to be daddy.
Yes.
And sometimes when me and you all need to allow her to be mom. However, my wife never passes up an opportunity. When I'm finishing up being daddy, or you'll get that, baby, can I speak to you for a second?
He already know what's coming. Like, because he knows that I've been triggered because he knows what the trigger is.
And
it's not that he's trying to.
No.
That's just the way he parents.
Yes.
I don't parent the way my husband parent. And that's okay.
Yep. But there's the thing. I respect and I honor the fact that she allows me to be daddy. But at the same time, I need my wife to vent to me in those moments. She don't need to be venting to no other man.
Yeah.
No other person. I need to walk in there, and I'm not being chastised. My wife is expressing herself and how she feels, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Because also it keeps me in balance. Because of how I was reared, I can get a little over the top when it comes to parenting. Because of some of the trauma and abuse that I went through as a child.
Yes.
So it's about balance.
Yeah, and his is trauma and abuse as well, but his does not trigger him the way mine triggers me.
Oh, no.
That's just the way that's just the way it was in his house. So for me, and here's why my childhood trauma is a huge trigger for me now, is because I saw both sides of the spectrum. I saw both sides of the discipline spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So my father and my stepdad disciplined totally different than my mom. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I got to see a very loving side of discipline, but I got to see a very harsh side of discipline as well. And the harsh side, woo, those memories are very vivid. I can still see them. I can still hear them. I still know how I felt in those times, what it did to me, even if the abuse was not directed at me personally. Even if it was directed at my siblings.
Yeah. And let me say this. When it comes to triggers, especially from a kid's point of view, we've never had that perfect childhood. That's why it's so important to have two parents in the household. Mm-hmm. I tell my wife all the time, yes, her father and her dad, they were very soft-spoken men, all very nice men, very, very understanding men. I love both of them. But they never had the opportunity to father her or parent her on an everyday basis.
Right, they did not.
Living in the house. So there are some things my wife probably would have done that would have got a different reaction and tone out of them. All right?
So?
Huh. Yeah.
I don't know. I
understand this. They know you. They know your mama. So when they came into the picture, or had to come be called in, they already know. Don't know more discipline need to be done. Mm-hmm. Stacey, you know better. Mm-hmm. Now it's the talking, because they know it wasn't no talking before. Mm-hmm. So they discipline in their own way.
But you think even if they would have been in the same house with me, though, that it would have gone different than that?
Let me ask you a question.
Ask me, baby. I got an answer for you.
Yeah, remember some of the things. Remember some of the things you have said and done as a child.
That I've said and done. Let me think of that. Yeah.
Do you think your father or your dad, stepdad, would have not been a little annoyed with you or changed their temperament with you?
No.
In certain moments. In certain moments.
I'm sorry.
Girl, please.
I have to say no. Seriously, I have to say no. I cannot agree with you on that. I can't. Because they taught me how to talk the way that I talked.
No, it's not talking. They taught you how to have a voice, not talk the way you talked.
Yes, they did. Teach me that.
They taught you how to have a voice.
How to have a voice, how to be respectful with my voice.
Well, you always
and how to say, yes. I kid you not, if you bought my mom on here right now, she would tell you I am her only child that's never disrespected her in my tone.
No, I can say that.
In the way that because they truly taught me.
I wasn't talking about to your parents, but I'm talking about just period.
I mean, that's different.
No,
no, that's different.
No, and but that's the thing. I wasn't speaking about to your parents. I was talking about period. I was talking about speaking about it in general. There are some things they expected differently out of you because of who you were.
So give me some examples. What do you think they expected different from me?
Because you call yourself the black goat or the black sheep of the family, you weren't expected to act like your brother and sister. So when you did do that, they expected something different to you.
I wasn't a black sheep. I wasn't the black sheep. I was different, but I wasn't.
How were you treated?
I was treated like the golden child.
Okay, golden child.
Okay.
Black sheep, golden child, they're the same. Different colors.
Golden and black.
Yeah. I apologize. I was the black sheep. She was the golden child. Let me get that right. I ain't mean to put my description on you.
Projecting.
Yeah. I ain't mean
trigger. Projecting.
I ain't even mean to project my description and depiction of how I was raised on you.
Yes.
Because I wasn't the golden child. But
which one of y'all was? That's interesting.
Not
Neither
my family.
one of them.
Wasn't no golden child. Black and brown.
All them were black
and brown.
Oh my God.
You know.
Okay.
But seriously, having the 2-parent household is so much different. My wife only saw it from the perspective of her mom always doing the chastise and working everything.
Yeah, I did.
Even though my father was my father, I still...
Even though my father was my father.
Yeah.
Y'all know what that means, right?
He had his ways. There was still a difference when my mom spoke and when he spoke. Still a difference. There were things that I would not do in that house because my father already put down the law and the rules of what he expected. Period. I had more respect for my wife because I knew, despite my father's actions, I knew he had my mother's back. So there was
knew your father had your mom's back.
Yes. Despite how he had to, when it came to parenting and us listening to her. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. Now he wasn't the best husband. Mm-hmm. He ain't gonna win Father of the Year award. But one thing my mom knew, if she said, Willie, like boop, he did what? You told him to do what he? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So we're still talking about triggers here. We're just talking about how, my triggers are definitely different than he is. And mine come from a place of traumatic experiences and physical abuse as a child. Yeah. Now,
see, physical abuse for me as a child was just
discipline.
It was just everyday whoopings for me.
It was just everyday discipline. Now,
I earned every last one of my whoopings.
Now,
every last one of them.
For me, it was a part of our everyday life too. I just think that the aggression did not match the action. Yep. Like, if we did this little small thing, it was like we did a really big thing. Yep. Okay? So, for me, thinking of how I was reared in the home with just a single mother, I used to always say, I'm never going to raise my kids like that. Like, I am not going to do that. Now, the thing that I did take was some of my mom's discipline techniques. Why you laughing?
Some of her techniques are now with your triggers for our daughters.
They are triggers for our daughters, right? Shut up. Because if you ask our daughters if the offense matches, the offense is going to match my discipline.
True.
Okay?
True.
So if your offense is all the way up here, I am putting you through a wall. I am.
Literally.
I mean, our 23-year-old daughter used to always like, what's your mom going to do to you? She going to put me through a wall. Yeah. I literally I almost put a hole in our wall with our daughter's body.
No, you did.
Oh, I did?
Yeah,
okay.
Did.
Well, he know I did. He had to fix it. Because the offense matched my aggression. Yeah. My discipline that I needed to attach to the offense. Okay?
No, we're not telling y'all put your kids through a wall.
Right. We ain't telling you to put your kids through a wall. However,
in the moment, it was warranted. It was warranted and deserved. Yes.
Yeah, it was warranted and deserving. When I grew up, it wasn't warranted and deserved. Yeah. No.
What my wife taught me as a parent is a lot of my discipline actions or techniques were not warranted. Because I was reared, everything that we did, we pretty much got a whooping for. Mm-hmm. Because we should know better. But as kids, sometimes we don't know better. Mm-hmm. So,
my triggers helped us bring balance in our marriage as husband and wife, but also as mother and father.
Yeah, because they taught me how to do something as a parent that I never really experienced before as a child. Mm-hmm. And it taught me how to talk to my kids. Mm-hmm. Not talk at them, talk to them and speak with them. Mm-hmm. To get an understanding of why. What were you thinking? Mm-hmm. What was this? What was that? Instead of whooping you, I'm going to take this away from you, or I'm going to take this opportunity to go to this party or this way. So those are the things that balanced us out, because if I whoop you and still let you get away with what you want to do, you're really not doing anything but building up a resilience to pain,
and aggression,
physical pain, and being aggressive. So
they become numb to it.
Yeah.
So my triggers help bring balance to him as a parent. His triggers help bring balance to me as a wife.
Facts.
Because
that was good,
wasn't
was good.
it?
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
I always think about it like that because I always think about my triggers. Baby, I gotta find the silver lining in that. I gotta find the beauty in the brokenness, man. I'm like, you know what? I was broken, but hell, this is what I said. This is what my brokenness did over here, okay?
This was silly,
But
man.
I'm serious, it helped us find balance because I always think about your triggers help me stop cutting you off at your knees. It made me, you truly helped me find the balance in you being the head of our house.
Yeah.
You being the genesis of this family. That if it wasn't for him, then this family would not be a family.
And that's a great segue into understanding that there are good triggers and then there are bad triggers. One, and the good trigger she's talking about here is me not being lost in being in love with her and still standing my ground. I love you, but I love you enough to let you know you ain't finna run over me.
Man, you weren't lost in being in love with me, baby. That's disappointing. Baby, I would need you to be lost in loving all this right here. Okay? I'm just playing. Go ahead, baby.
And they were lost. The other two were lost. The first two, they were lost.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
No arguments. But I had to love my wife enough to let her know that I love you, but I can't give up the position that God has placed me in.
Yeah.
And if I do that, then I'm out of order. And then if I step down from my position, if I willingly step down to my position, I put her in a position that she's not built for. So
he learned that in watching his father.
And watching my father do the exact same thing to my mom.
And what's that exact same thing? I want it to be clear to them when they look at that trigger.
Well, first of all, loving himself more than he loved the family and her, and not walking in his position.
Yes, not walking in his position
and leaving her to play the role of both, and expecting that to be okay. Then I watched my grandfather, 59 years of marriage, walk his role out. Still allow my grandmother, his wife, to have her life and have her voice, but he knew where he stood. My uncles as well. So I watched it from a perspective of then my father's mother.
Peripheral.
Yeah, my father's mother never married. So I had different viewpoints to look, and I was like, okay, I see which one I want to walk down.
Yes.
Many young people don't have options. They just see one. They just see one way of life.
See one way.
And it's the thing. See, we're being real with you here when it comes to triggers. That's what my wife saw. Not to down her, but she knows, and she will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I will. Go ahead.
But throughout her family, she never saw any strong men. There were a lot of strong single women.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Strong single women, and the ones that did get married, they got married later on in life, and they pampered the men. Not the men being men. They pampered the men so they could be in position of control.
So that the woman can be in position of control. Manipulation, basically. Okay. Now, I have a couple, and I can count on one hand how those women kind of switch the role around. Maybe two. Maybe. All of the other women who were married in my family, which I didn't see marriage in my family that often. The other women in my family, like my immediate family, my really close-knit family that were married, it was manipulation. It was they played this role so that they could manipulate the situation or manipulate the man. There were very few women that I saw step up and truly be those godly wives that God talks about in the Bible.
Yep. And this is the thing for if you're finna become someone's spouse, husband or wife, it's probably good to know these things about your spouse, about their background, about their family. So when you go into it, it's not a blame game. I couldn't blame my wife for some of her actions and some of her disposition because that's all she saw. That's all she knew.
Right.
That was her comfort zone. What I didn't know is how to love my wife through those things.
Right.
I thought I could make my wife become what I needed for her to be. It's not how it works. So, not having mentors in your life are very big for your triggers ruling your marriage.
Yes.
If you don't have the right mentors in your life that can call you out, and you have the maturity to allow yourself to be called out, yeah, your triggers are going to win.
Yeah, because when someone comes to you, let's think about your triggers. That's what I really want you guys to do for a moment. Is really think about what your triggers are. Okay? So as you think about your triggers, and someone is trying to get to know you, and they really want to be in a relationship with you, because I'm going to describe what I did. So this is why I want you to take a look at what your triggers are. Okay? When Joaquin asked me to teach him how to love me, teach him how to be my husband, the only way I could teach him was via my triggers. And that wasn't the right way because I had not healed from them. The only way that I was able to teach him how to love me properly was to heal from my triggers and not allow my triggers to describe the love that I felt like I needed from him because I never saw it.
Yes.
So how could I describe that? And I got all of these traumas that are set up in me. That's why we were on the verge of divorce court. That's why this is my third marriage. And I'll be the first one to admit it. Shut up. It is one of the reasons why I'm on my third marriage.
This is true.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Facts.
See, now we can move on from that because he's in agreement with me. You know, yes. Anyway, don't make me forget my train of thought. You know I'm easy to Anyway, the only thing I could describe to him initially in the beginning of our marriage was out of my trauma.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after the 5th year that we were married that I was truly able to help my husband love me in my healing. To love a healed Stacey. To love a Stacey that knew how to handle the triggers when they presented themselves.
Yeah.
How to talk to him about what those triggers are and to say, I'm triggered. Or to say, baby, this is what this did to me. And this is what this reminded me of.
Yeah.
Because we still have those conversations to this day.
Yep. To this day, 14 years of marriage later. Yeah.
Yes. People don't understand. If you watched season 1 of That Loper Love, people still to this day don't understand why I don't do anything. Okay? And some people will call me lazy or something like that. I am not lazy by any means because I can clean up. I can do it. Sometimes I'm triggered when I do it because of my childhood trauma.
And once again, as a spouse, if you don't understand those triggers and you're not willing to make sure that you are what you need for her or he to be, then you will sit there and let your spouse be triggered and don't understand why you getting the backlash or the cold shoulder stuff.
Or why she over there crying and boo-hooing and you like, baby, what happened?
Yeah, you're just washing dishes.
You're just washing dishes, baby. Or you're just sweeping the floor. Baby, you fold the towel fine.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I'm borderline OCD when it comes to a lot of things.
Now he's borderline. When I first met him, and it was an extreme.
and then, guess what? I was extremist from triggers. I understand.
Woo!
I grew up very. I grew up poor, not having much. So when I started getting things, knowing how to clean the stuff because of how I was reared, I wasn't going back. So my trigger of valuing material things,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
what I had
Mm-hmm.
was really an inconvenience and putting other people that came around me in an uncomfortable setting. I wouldn't even let people walk on my carpet, on the floor.
Yes.
You have to walk around in a certain way so you would not
Mess
mess up
up
the
the
lines
lines in his
that I
carpet
vacuumed the
after
carpet.
he's vacuumed. And you just asked me to come over to your house. Like, Ninja, I don't even want to come in there.
You sure did.
I'm like, why? When I can't even. Let me tell y'all, one day, this is what I did. And I don't know if he remembers this. I'm sure he does. Because he was upset, but he couldn't do nothing but laugh. Because y'all know I'm crazy, okay? So he had just vacuumed this floor. I'm going on a 2-hour break from work. He's cleaning up because he's out of class and everything. I'll walk in the door. And the door has this little vinyl right at the beginning of the door before you hit the carpet. He just finished vacuuming. And this was after I got to know him really well, okay? Y'all know what I did? I turned around, I dove on the floor, and I started making this noise. I said, now you just invited me over here knowing good well I'm on a 2-hour break, and I gotta walk around this. No. We're not gonna do that. You're gonna have to re-vacuum when I leave.
I hate her.
I did.
And all I could do was laugh because I was like, you crazy.
I was making angels in his car. I sure was.
Yep. And I did it because I knew she understood, but sometimes you do need those people that keep you out of that zone, out of being so serious all the time.
Yeah.
And most people didn't know I was that serious because they always saw me on the outskirts where I was protected.
Yeah.
My triggers were keeping you at a distance. I kept people at a distance. You don't get close to me.
Yeah.
But one thing my wife never did, she loved my triggers when it came to me going to her place cleaning up. Never stopped me. Not one time. So some triggers work for me.
I always wanted a maid. I mean.
And you know what the trigger was for me? I just cleaned that, Stacey. Why you gonna miss it? You know what? I ain't coming back.
He was back next day.
No, I went back next day. And if I did come back, I was pissed off because it was messed up and I had to do it again.
Thank you, baby.
But triggers.
Yeah.
What makes you angry?
Yeah.
If your husband or your wife says a certain word or a certain statement to you, do you correct them or do you go off about it? If your mom used to call you, or your parent or someone used to bully you or call you ugly or this and this and this, and somebody jokingly said it to you and you snap off,
yep, that's a trigger.
That's a trigger.
Let me show y'all something else that's a trigger for some people. Do your hand just like this, like when you talk. Do your hand like this. You just did it. No, you were talking. Do your hand just like this. Do your hand like this.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Exactly. So Joaquin talks with his hands like that a lot.
I do.
If he was an abusive man, or if you had been in an abusive relationship and a man is talking to you like that, he means absolutely no harm. But you think he about to slap the taste out your mouth. Trigger! I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. But it is, that's a trigger. Like gestures. The man ain't doing no I'm sorry.
And now we are having fun with this.
Right. However,
we in no way condone
physical abuse. We don't condone any type of abuse at all. Physical, mental, verbal, none of that. Okay.
Yeah, I do. I lose a lot of respect for
men and
women that abuse their spouse. I grew up watching my mom be physically abused for years. Yeah. Years. Mm-hmm. That's a trigger for me.
That's a trigger for him. It really is.
That is a trigger for me. Yes. As a man, you will lose my respect. Yeah, let me find out you're hitting on your women or something.
The woman is hitting on the man. Now, I do not like that. That's one thing for me. But I just wanted to show an example of he's just simply doing that. That's a trigger for somebody. Yeah. And here's the thing: what if your significant other or your spouse you learn that just out of nowhere you learn that that's just how he talks or how she talks with her hands in that manner, and you pop off. It's like whoa, hold on a second. Like you just caught this person off guard because here you are thinking that they're so passionate about what they're talking about that they're gonna slap you.
Yep.
That's we have to be very careful. And this is real. Like y'all think this stuff don't happen. This stuff really happens.
Or the threat of saying this, if you keep on, I'm gonna leave you.
Yes.
That is a trigger. Do you know how many people have parents and loved ones that have left them, and that was their threat?
Abandonment, rejection.
Abandonment.
Mm-hmm. So they're triggered by those phrases too.
Yep. And sometimes those triggers will make a person shut down and don't let you get close to them. And now you're wondering, why are you shutting me out?
Yes. So our whole point of bringing this to the table is have that conversation.
Yes.
And it can be just general conversation about what those words are, what those gestures are, those actions, whatever it may be. Talk about those. It's not like you're trying to call somebody out on their stuff. Just at least have a conversation with your significant other or your spouse or your girlfriend or your guy friends or something so that they will understand that if you're triggered, they know how to handle it. They know how to bring the situation back to a place of calm and not a place of chaos or hostility.
Especially your spouse.
Yes.
When it comes to talking about your triggers and things that could really damage the relationship, give your relationship and your marriage the opportunity to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not honest with yourself and your spouse, you will never give your relationship the true room that it deserves to grow, what it can grow into.
Mm-hmm.
Understand something, as flowers grow, that's why, I used to see my grandparents and always repot flowers or certain plants.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they get to a certain size, they need to grow, they need more room to grow. In a marriage, you need more room to grow. Mm-hmm. Understand something. In marriage and in Christianity, there is no neutrality. You're either going forwards
or you going backwards.
Mm-hmm. And those are facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I'd rather go forward. I'd rather go forward with her assistance of us both going in the same direction, opposed to me going one direction, she going the other.
Yeah, because it's not conducive to growth. It's not conducive to evolution in the marriage, in the relationship. And I always bring friendship into it because I feel like sometimes your friends need to know your triggers too.
Yes.
Like they need to know so that they'll know how you react to those triggers too. Some of us isolate, and some of us might feel like, well, what did I do wrong? You probably didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. They're just triggered, And so I tell people all the time, you need to know some specific triggers about me because I'm not coming to your house and cleaning up. I'm just not gonna do it.
Nor she come to your house if it's dirty. Trigger.
He right. I'm not using your bathroom if it's dirty. I'm not doing that. I am not. But I'm not coming over to your house and clean up. My triggers are directly related to domesticality. I don't even know. But if it ain't, it's one now. Is that domestication?
Yeah, baby.
I don't even know if that's a word.
Baby, you're allergic to being domesticated.
Okay, so I said domesticality.
Yeah.
I don't know what domestic. The basic word. The root word of it all is domestic. Okay. That ain't me. That's a trigger for me. Domestic. You just cussed me out. You just flat foot cussed me out. And some of y'all need to learn how to do that. Say pineapple. Say something so that your spouse or your significant other or your friends will know, like, girl, I gotta go. This ain't for me, okay? So bring it to the table. You can have a conversation that doesn't turn into chaos or hostility. Yeah. Just bring it to the table. And remember, approach and delivery is critical when you're bringing those things to the table.
Yes. Very, very, very important. Mm-hmm. If you want to be loved, those saying you get more honey.
You get more bees with honey
than you do vinegar. You get more bees with honey than you do vinegar. Mm-hmm. So if you need something from your wife or your husband, go to them in love. Understand something. The less I teach my wife in how to love me, the less I should expect from her. But the more I teach her and how I need to be loved, the more I can expect from her if she's taking on my teaching methods. Mm-hmm. All right?
Yep.
I can't expect to give her what she has not taught me what she needs.
Yes. And like he said, it goes both ways. We teach each other. Yep. We're coachable and we're teachable.
Like me, okay? I'm a country boy, so I have a very loud tone, loud voice. I used to be in my mirror every morning feeling embarrassed, talking to the mirror, whispering. So I could learn how to speak to my wife and my kids so they could hear me in a loving way. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. You have to put yourself in positions that you're not used to instead of saying, that's just who I am. You knew who I was before you married me. Trigger! How do those things roll so freely off my tongue? Because those are some of the things I used to say. Mm-hmm. Until I matured and said, you know what? Let me grow up. Yeah. Yeah. Let me put myself in a position to help my marriage grow. Yeah. Baby, are you okay?
I'm good, baby. Thank you for asking.
And then I would say, how was that?
That was great.
That was good?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So now, not only am I putting forth what I've been taught, I'm also being rewarded.
Mm-hmm. Being affirmed.
Yep. You need affirmation. You need to know how to affirm your spouse. Yeah. All right? So I don't care. No one that would ever, she can never teach me and say, I'm going to make you a better man. Can't do that. God already took care of that. But she can teach me how to be one hell of a husband and be her husband. Yes. Affirm me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How'd I do tonight?
You did great. You were relaxed. You were very like,
See, I get affirmed later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You are getting affirmed now and later. Thank y'all so much for joining us for Bring It to the Table. We hope that it was useful and that you will implement some of the tools that we've given you tonight into your marriage and into bringing that conversation to the table. Yeah. My name is Stacey. This is my wonderful, loving, and handsome husband, Joaquin Loper. We are blended and winning.
And so are you.
Yes.
So, till next time, God bless you.
Please. Peace.